in the classical idea of architecture, there are three levels. There's the primary architecture, which is, for example, the square that makes a temple. Then there is the secondary architecture, which are the details of the Corinthian column capitals or whatever. And then there is the tertiary architecture, which in a church would be the bowl and the jug on the altar. And so I consider that these, and classical architects consider all of these things related and bound together by colour, scale and detailing.
When I was first asked to be part of this amazing project, I was completely terrified and overwhelmed. The daunting perspective of this project was very big in my head, and I think slowly you start to build up and understanding and getting involved with, but it was an amazing journey.
The invitation to Marking the Line was terribly exciting because working with the Sir John Soane Museum was it was a museum I'd known as a student at the Royal College of Art, and I was very excited about parts of the museum that I'd fallen in love with. So the notion of being able to return and make something from the museum was very exciting.
I was absolutely thrilled because the Soane Museum has been one of those just magical places for me, magical place full of inspirational objects, and so the opportunity to respond in some way to any small part of that museum is just an absolute honour. I'm really, really thrilled about it.
I remember being sort of a mixture of excitement and relief. I've been showing in wonderful buildings for a number of years, but never in a historical building of such perfection as this. And I thought, this is it. This could be my chance to show that my work has a historical background.
So I start with those structures and studying and seeing how could I make this work or making this bridge to my work. So that was the starting point, to study the structure and the use of curve and the use of form and space.
My approach was really to try and find a piece of work that I could kind of reflect through, the whole family could be reflected through, and I focused on Sir Francis Chantry's marble bust, which is sort of in glorious position in the centre of the atrium, from the top of the house down to the mausoleum.
I think showing work that has a strong connection to the past is one way forward. And I came to think that a way of pulling all of these ideas together was to choose a story, and the story I chose was the story of the Greek goddess Persephone.
The concept was formed kind of surprisingly to me around Sir John Soane, rather than necessarily the sites of the museums and houses that we were looking at. And I say this is surprising because a lot of the time the work I navigate and respond is about architecture, whereas this really, the research really revealed the man.
I realised that I don't respond in a site-specific way. I very much respond in a theme-specific way. So the themes for me, in this particular case, have been about this family relationship, and so that can carry into other venues.
Each venue have your particular feel to it, and as soon as you get in Soane, you are overwhelmed by the variety, the quantity of objects.
I think what I've enjoyed about the placement of the bowls at the different sites is their relationship with the building and the context that sits around the buildings.
Each of the further sites has, you know, something sexy or appealing about it. I mean, I would say that I'm particularly delighted to be showing with everyone in Port Eliot, because referring back to the theme of nature and Persephone and the idea that there is a spirit in place which rises up. The gardens by Repton at Port Eliot, which our work will be, as it were, looking out onto, are just heaven on earth.